Well, folks, here we go. Today's drive should be interesting. We are in the little town of Lunas, and we're going to be taking a drive along rural roads headed towards Alustar. So we're heading northwards. Lunas is a little town just beside Kulim, where I live. Okay. This guy has given me away. Thank you so very much. And so normally when I were to be driving to Alustar, I would take the main north-south highway route. But then I think I've put up quite a few videos of the highway route driving, which might get boring after a while, both to drive and to watch as well. Excuse that little bit of cough. I just had a little bit of a lunch thingy. And over here in Lunas, there is a restaurant that is famous for its roast duck. And so you can have roast duck with porridge or with rice. That restaurant is pretty famous here. People even travel from other places just to come here to have their roast duck. I must say, though, they've been around for decades. So I must say, though, that after having had today's lunch, the taste and the quality is a far cry from their heydays. So probably now they're just surviving on past reputation. Yeah. So much for the famous Lunas roast duck. Anyway, this is a one street town kind of a thing. In the 90s, we're probably talking about 1990. Actually, I first came to Kulim to work in about 1987, I believe. So from that, this town was like, a quiet little place, nothing much to do, except we would play badminton at the school hall, just to the left of this traffic intersection here. And we would meet once or twice a week to play badminton in the evenings, followed by a cold beer or two. Just on the left, we passed by a restaurant which used to have really good wonton noodles. Tiny wontons, but unique oben and really good. So anyway, that was Lunas 30, or was it 35 years ago? Little has changed, except for the number of buildings. And of course, the old restaurants with their old classic flavors probably don't have the same flavors anymore, because like the old generation has gone and they've passed over management to their children or grandchildren, who nowadays tend to be more focused on the apps on their smartphones than the actual cooking processes. And a lot of restaurants over here nowadays have imported foreign labor to do the cooking. But then that's a worldwide trend, isn't it? Some years ago when I was in Tokyo to to do a few shows. I went to this ramen restaurant which had quite a high ratings on TripAdvisor. I went to this ramen restaurant near my hotel, and to my absolute surprise, there was one Japanese girl who was a waitress, but the guys who were like running it and the chefs, they were all from North India, yeah. And so, to everyone's surprise, I was happily ordering my food in Hindustani. Yeah. By golly, yeah, that got all the Japanese patrons there by surprise. So anyway, it was weird, and then I asked the guys, what the hell are you guys, cooking ramen here? Do you know how it's done? They said, oh, well, the owner is actually a Japanese guy. He comes in the morning and he cooks all the soups and the main ingredients and stuff. And so, everything is already basically cooked or prepared for us to just put into the pots and heat up and stuff. And so, we front the place, and I said, what is your boss doing? He said, oh, he's probably sleeping or, drinking sake with his friends or something now. That's the way the story goes, yeah. And so anyway, so now coming back to Penang or in Malaysia, some of these places that had really, fantastic Chinese food, with recipes brought in by, their old folks, first generation immigrants from different provinces in China, like this place with the roast duck thingy. Yeah, now the younger generation is taken over management or has taken over management. Apologies for the bad grammar. And they don't want to sweat away and work in the kitchen, so they are employing foreign workers to cook. So I just had my, duck rice, and the guys who were like, chopping up the cooked duck and placing it and serving it. Basically, they seem to be like Bangladeshis, and they're happily serving it. And you can even go to some Chinese restaurants in Penang and have their so-called famous recipe noodles, and find that the guys who are serving you and cooking the food, actually cooking the food, might be from Myanmar or Bangladesh or wherever, anywhere except from Penang, because apparently the younger generation, like I said, they are a bit too busy with their apps on their mobile phones, and you can't have the hot stoves in the kitchen affecting their mobile phones, which are fairly sensitive to temperature and things like that. And so this is like, actually it's all over the place. Yeah, it's a worldwide phenomenon now, because labor costs are going up, and people just basically don't want to work in sweaty jobs, even if you pay them well. So you got to source your labor from wherever you can. And of course, the smarter people, let's use parentheses when we use the word smarter, the smarter people are just interested in the bottom line. So if they can, make a profit by doing less work themselves, why not? And then, if they can outsource the labor to somebody else, then, why bother to do the work themselves? Number one. Number two, they can open more outlets. More outlets using lots of labor, because it's just basically every outlet following the same procedure. So it's not just like McD's and Kentucky Fried Chicken that, have got franchises running. It's all these local mama and papa restaurants. Once they've got a couple of dishes with recipes that are popular with people, they'll just open a few other branches and, hire somebody from Cambodia or Bangladesh to do the actual cooking work while they just, do the marketing stuff. Or if they're even further down the line, they'll send the Bangladeshi guy to the market to buy the stuff that's needed for their authentic South China cuisine dish. It's all good, yeah. And as long as the customers are happy to pay or patronize their stalls, why not? And it's not as if they're doing this sneakily, yeah. It's there for everyone to see. The guys who talk to you, who serve you, who are cooking your food, you can even watch them, frying things in the pan. You can see that they're all foreigners, and you speak to them in the local Malay language, and they might be able to speak the language if they've been here for some years, but they've got, their own accent, and so they don't pretend to be Malaysians. Oh well. So those of you, who cook at home and then you watch online shows and you follow recipes, if any of your friends, tell you that, your chef skills, are not really there, and you are not a genuine chef, you can tell them that, hey, yeah, go to your favorite Chinese restaurant, have your food cooked by some guy from North India or Timbuktu or wherever, not that I have anything against anybody from any of these places. After all, I live in Malaysia, but I am not a Malay. My grandparents came from India, so that's that. But I'm not selling Chinese food. Oh, but then again, I do sing country and western songs. Look at that. Same thing, yeah. Country and western songs written and by, produced by, and sung by a guy who has North Indian heritage. Yeah. While folks in Tennessee and Nashville listen to my music. Oh, what a world. What a wonderful world. Anyway, this video is more about driving. We're going to driving. Why am I talking about all this other rubbish? Right, folks, we are driving now along rural roads, like I say. But as you can see, we keep passing by these plantations, like in front of us, ahead of us, oil palm trees, and there used to be an oil palm plantation. But we'll keep passing by places where there were plantations, and then they cut down the plantations and they start developing. Either they're building commercial areas or residential areas or factories, and this is just something that goes on all over Malaysia, which I suppose means that Malaysia is a country that is progressing, yeah. But a lot of the rural landscape, then is gone. But then again, I suppose that's the price one has to pay for progress. There will come a time where if you wanted to see a tree or a little bit of green, then you'd have to take a flight to some part of the country where they have trees or things of green. In the meanwhile, just learn how to enjoy concrete. Yeah. So anyway, All of this used to be so different about 30 years ago. You hardly any traffic, people on bicycles. But then again, okay, let's not impede the progress of progress. We left the small town of Lunas, and now we're heading into the slightly larger town of Padang Serai, Rural Roads Drive. And I'm going to try to, just keep hitching onto roads that pass through villages and stuff like that until we reach the town of Sungai Petani, which is a large town. And from there, depending on, how much time I have available, I shall either hop onto the main north-south highway to continue to Alustar, or I shall take the old trunk road from Sungai Petani to Alustar. The trunk roads in Malaysia, we like tree trunks, for example. They are the main. They used to be the main roads that connected the big towns and cities, and then along came the highways, the tolled highways. They started building tolled highways to make traveling long distances easier. So most people nowadays will take the tolled highways when they are driving long distances from one big city to the other. Faster, perhaps easier, but after some time, downright boring when you drive. So before the highways, this would have been, one of the routes that one would take to travel between Kulim and Lunas, and then to Sungai Petani. Or one would drive to Butterworth and take the Butterworth trunk road that heads northwards. What we're going to do now is take these rural roads, which I suppose are not even trunk roads, and find as many of these roads as we can. They're a bit more scenic, folks. You can see occasionally from the sides of the roads there'll be dilapidated buildings. These used to be really nice village houses where people live. But then, somebody in the family has now got a job, or a grandchild has got a university degree, and now, they've all moved to the city to live in a nice brick house. So the old village house gets like abandoned. I'm hoping for clear weather today, so we have good scenery here. We have a good view. Though, of course, as I think I have said before, most Malaysians prefer it to be not so sunny when they are out. We like cooler weather. But for the purposes of us doing this video, we want bright sunshine, good views for you people. Oil palm plantations. This one is, I think I saw a sign saying it was owned by Simon Davi. Used to be a huge, big plantation owner. Now let's see. I'm not using my usual GPS app software, just trying to drive by memory, though I have not driven along this road for quite a fair bit, so hopefully we'll find our way to where we want to go. This adds to the nostalgia and the adventure, of driving the days before we had software telling us what to do and where to go. Lots of oil palms. These are younger trees, so they've obviously cleared the old trees and planted a fresh batch of trees. Because I think the trees have a certain lifespan where they are productive and economically viable. Then after that they have to put the old trees to rest. Look at our right, they've cleared a fair bit of these trees. For what? Is anybody's guess? Shops coming our way. I want to make sure I know where we're going. There used to be a small wooden bridge along this thingy here somewhere, and then suddenly suddenly you come to a right turn which you have to take. Now I don't see the wooden bridge, so let's just see. At least one has to at least cross a small stream or a river. Is that not going to happen? Okay. It used to be a wooden bridge, just wide enough for one single lane of traffic, and there'd be wooden boards below which would be rattling away as you drove over them. And now they've got a good bridge. Pretty soon there should be a right turn. I can't remember when I last drove along this road. But hey, is it? Not this. This used to be like a real road, turning right. So, there's even a signboard. That's good. Thank you, signboard. Sometimes in the rural areas, they have better signage than in the cities. In the cities, they might tell you, they might put up a signboard after an intersection, or they might have a signboard which is blocked by a tree or by another billboard. Here we go. This must be an intersection of some repute because they've got a few little stalls, food stalls. Yeah, you can always tell if a place has good repute or not. If it has good repute, then there would have to be stalls selling food. Oh, this guy's selling laksa. Laksa is like a kind of a soup, very sometimes spicy. Over in the north of Malaysia, it tends to have a lot of shredded fish meat in it, very flavorful and tasty. Look at that, beautiful, lovely paddy fields. Yeah, this is the scenic drive that I want. Yeah, I love this kind of scene. Yeah. Now it's the tough part is keeping the eye on the road, but the good news is that I've got the video cam running, so if the video comes out good, then I can watch this video and enjoy the drive, so to speak. Yeah. When you're driving along, these kind of areas, it's not a big thrill being the driver, but sometimes it's also enjoyable driving. But if you're the passenger, you can at least turn your head around and look at things. Yeah. But oh well. So this road is like meandering away approximately northwards, and then we'll be cutting through more of these villages and plantations. Coconuts on our left and oil palms on our right. Yeah, not that much rubber. Oh, here we come to a bit of rubber. On our right, that's rubber. On the left, it's still oil palm. It's all a question of which one of these are commercially more viable at any given time. Natural rubber prices have steadily been declining. They were pretty high just around World War II, but then when the Japanese invaded and took over most of the Southeast Asian countries, they had control over the rubber, which was essential for tires for vehicles, bicycles, motorcycles, cars, airplanes, and assorted other products. So rubber was pretty precious then, and then the Western countries had to come up with some artificial substitute, so to speak, and so they they formulated artificial rubber, which managed to get by. But then there were a lot of benefits to natural rubber as well. But over the years, they have formulated an increasing amount of different kinds of products which are more beneficial, which are rubbery and beneficial and probably have advantages over natural rubber. And so you find that these artificial rubber products are quite widespread in the market, so hence bringing down the value of natural rubber. Yeah. One simple example is the use of natural rubber latex in gloves, which you wear when you do your gardening or dishwashing, or which health professionals use. Natural latex gloves are easy and cheap to produce, but many people can have an allergy to the natural rubber latex, and so they have come up with technologies to either put a coating of a non-rubber substance on the inner side of the rubber glove, or begin to make gloves out of non-rubber materials. So now you have these non-latex gloves which are in the market. Still more costly to completely manufacture non-latex gloves, but with the advantage of them not causing allergies. So there is a market for them. So having said which, as far as the rubber growing nations of the world are concerned, unless they can sort of like persuade the rubber trees to come up with a different kind of a sap, they are still basically stuck with that natural rubber, and of course they have to try to find different ways to process it, but they have stiff competition. So perhaps that's why we don't see so many rubber trees nowadays, and probably a fair number of the former rubber estates have been taken over by the palm oil estates. So you see on both sides of the roads now, of this road now, you have these oil palms. By the way, folks, the trees are the palms, so they are the oil palms, and when they extract the oil from them, that oil is called palm oil. So please don't call these trees palm oil trees. I mean, you could in a way, but then they are oil palms. Look at that, a bit of documentary, education, and these crazy little videos of mine as well. But the oil palm prices used to be high at one stage, but nowadays there are so many different other kinds of oils that people can use for cooking, which is one of the main things that the palm oils are used for. They have a lot of advantages over things like sunflower oil or peanut oil or other oils, because the palm oil is apparently a little bit more nutritious, but even more importantly for the cooking industry, it can tolerate higher heat, and it can last longer. So for example, if you had to fry chicken, if you were running a fried chicken restaurant and you needed to fry tons and tons of chicken every day, if you used palm oil, your oil would last you longer, so it's economically more viable. But if you used sunflower oil, it's a bit more delicate, and if you use olive oil, if you use olive oil, you'll be broke. I doubt if olive oil could even handle the heat of open frying anyway. So anyway, we're coming to another connecting road. This is still not like a trunk road, but it's a road that connects two larger towns, Sungai Petani to the left where we are heading, and a not so large town called Kolakatil behind us. Maybe one of these days we'll do a drive towards a Kolakatil-ish direction, because in that direction we could head towards the northern central or northern eastern side of the peninsula, towards the Thailand border, and connect with the Thai border town of Betong, which is like more like a north and central connection. On the west coast, the connection to Thailand will be at a place called Bukit Kayu Hitam. On the east coast, the easternmost part, the connection to Thailand, the road connection, the land connection, down there would be a Thai town of Golok, which connects with Malaysia. And on the central side of the Thai town is Betong. So Malaysians who are driving and who want to drive into Thailand can have a choice of going to the main connection, which is on the west coast, or to do a central connection to Betong, which leads to southern province of Thailand, more hilly and mountainous province. In the just after the World War II, there was a place where there was a lot of communist activity going on, and there was this insurgency which had been launched by the Communist Party of Malaysia. Basically, when Malaysia got its independence, they wanted to be a part of the administration of the country. The British, who were colonizing Malaya, as it was called then, said no, and so the communists fought a guerrilla jungle battle against the Malaysian government for many years. And Betong was one of those places where they used to take refuge, and then they come in through the mountains and the jungles, and then, like I say, they had a guerrilla war going on. Thankfully, all of that is over, and both sides made their peace. And now here we are on again towards Sungai Petani. I don't quite like to drive along this road during so-called rush hour, or let's say between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. or in the afternoon or early morning, because there are lots and lots of factories that have been set up in this city, Sungai Petani. So this road becomes terribly congested. But we seem to be okay for the moment here. Fingers crossed we will make it through. The time now is just about 3:30 in the afternoon, so I do believe we have at least half an hour or 45 minutes to reach and get through Sungai Petani. Hey, talking about food and fast food, look, we've got KFC on our right. A bit further away, you see a signboard with a bit of yellow writing Nasi Kanda. That Nasi Kanda is like Indian Muslim food, and they're all chain restaurants. Yeah, some guy somewhere sits in some office, and he hires people to manage all these restaurants, and then he hires people to cook, and he's got a formula, or his family would have been chefs in the past, so they just instruct people on what needs to be done, and then people do their thing. And so basically one family or one group of people, a few of them sit and they manage a whole chain of these restaurants all over the country. Franchise, yeah. But the one thing you must say about these Nasi Kanda places is that they make sure that all of the people working for them, are like from the India. I mean, you won't get guys from like China working in the Nasi Kanda restaurants. You know what I mean? I see. So now this road gives me the option to connect to the highway, which I don't want to, or to go into Sungai Petani town. This is a tricky part, yeah. My dear GPS, where are you? A new intersection built with a new road. Which actually makes a connection, if I'm not mistaken, with the north-south highway, and we have a little bit of time on our hands, so I'm going to take the risk and drive into Sungai Petani to see if I can thoroughly avoid the highway system, connect with the old roads. Let's see. With a little bit of luck, this road will lead to just before the town proper. Then we can make a kind of a right turn and connect with the Sungai Petani to Alusat old trunk road just as it leaves the town itself. So basically trying to avoid the center of the town. The locals in Sungai Petani will probably be laughing at me because like they'll know, 100 different ways to avoid the congested road that I'm on. I do have friends who live in Sungai Petani, and I used to drive along this road fairly often, but that was like a long time ago, and I've driven along so many roads since. I can't for the life of me remember every single turning that I have to take to get from one place to another. So remember when I said that in the rural areas there are probably better signboards than in the towns. Case in point is this Sungai Petani. As we approach the town, we've passed by 2 or 3 interesting intersections that would lead right in the right direction, and that's sort of like where I want to go. But there are no signages saying where these roads lead to. They probably just don't want us out of towners knowing all of these shortcuts, so the locals can enjoy the shortcuts. Well, we out of towners can struggle here. But here a bit of a whooshy sound coming on now, folks, because like I'm turning up the blower on the aircon. It's hot outside there, and I just want to cool things a little bit. I'll be halting the video in a little while and then put in another video, continue it again, just to avoid a situation where there's a glitch in the system and the video stops. All the trouble to make a video and then have it stop. It's not an issue, but maybe get corrupted. It's not good. Oops. We don't want to turn left, we just want to keep going straight. Right? Yep. There we go, yeah. This is another classic example. Yeah, look, we've got lovely signboard after the junction. Yeah. Welcome to Sungai Petani. This is not good, having